Yeah, good morning. Good morning, guys. Those watching the EPL. I'm watching the game Wolves versus Brighton. Baleba goes against Tchachua. Wolves is leading by a score of 1-0. Their coach was red carded for indecency towards the match delegate. Look at some speed. Tchachua also has that speed. Yes, that's Mente actually going against Tchachua. Great speed, but oh my goodness, he almost went through. That's Let me see how good. Let me see how good. So yeah, so I'm here watching Brighton versus Wolves. Baleba is on a yellow card. I think that's a second yellow card. Also now, Brighton has 2 yellow cards going on for them, so they have to be very careful. Yep, that's a yellow card, no doubt. Brighton is actually under pressure. They're under pressure right now. So good morning. If you log in, please share. I'm following this game because of two Cameroonian players that are playing in this game, and they've been called up for the next game over the weekend, where Cameroon goes to play back-to-back World Cup qualifiers games. Tchachua on the ball right now. A foul, a foul has been given against Wolves. Wolves is bottom of the table. Their coach has been red carded. Wolves is looking to have maybe their first win. Now they're leading by a score of 1-0, but the game is still a lot of minutes, about 15 minutes in the first half. That's if you count like extra time. I mean, time wasted. There was an incident where the coach of Wolves was actually red carded, so that will be taken into consideration. As far as the game is going on, Wolves after that got momentum. They scored just minutes after their coach was red carded, so the momentum is actually on them. The 12th man, the crowd, is now into the game. He Chang just fouled the Wolves player. But keep in mind, we've seen Brighton play before. Brighton are a well-coached team. They're a team that will not actually give up. But they're sitting now on 2 yellow cards. So let's just watch. I know a guy like Baleba has been playing an average of 54 minutes a game. So in this situation where he's sitting already on a yellow card this early in the game, I hope somewhere in the second half the coach is going to pull the plug on him. Especially when you have two players sitting on a yellow card. Wolves actually has a free kick, dangerous one, long ball sent in. Goalkeeper doesn't touch it, so that's a goal kick. I like the jerseys, man. I like the color, purple. Those are the colors of my late mom, purple, man. I love that. I think I'll need to check that out. Yeah, she loved purple, my mom. May she rest in peace. So hope you guys are having a wonderful morning. This is a watch along. I started doing watch alongs because it gives me opportunity to maybe share my culture or my opinions, how I actually view soccer, how I consume the beautiful game. And I'm always gonna put a twist on this because I can talk about many different things. I can talk about Cameroonian players, African players, put some sort of an African twist on it while we're watching these games. Let me know. I mean, if you tune in, let me know which game you're watching because I have all the games. I can actually switch. We can go back and forth. Barcelona will soon start here against Sevilla in La Liga. Deportivo Alves, Elche, Deportivo leading 2-0. Napoli plays in about, let me see, 2 hours. Baleba on the ball. So for the past 5 minutes, Brighton has been dominating possession. Wolves has fallen back. They're allowing Brighton to actually have that possession again. They're leading 1-0. So Brighton will definitely be the more aggressive side right now, and maybe Wolves looks to break them down on counter attack. We also seen that during set pieces, and that goal it was a fault of Welbeck. You know, Welbeck had the opportunity to communicate well with maybe with the goalkeeper. If the goalkeeper just told him head the ball backwards, that was a dangerous one. Great defending from Wolves. So basically, if the goalkeeper communicated well with Welbeck, you should have just told him head the ball backwards. But Welbeck just headed the ball back into danger. And that's not how you defend. You know, that was just poor defending. And that's one of the main problems of Brighton this season. They have hurt themselves. If you see easy penalty, giveaways, bad back passes, and stuff like that. So they need to be better defensively. And this season, they are yet to have any clean sheet. So Brighton, after today is the seventh game, they are yet to have a clean sheet, you know, which means in order to win games, you must always look to outscore your opponent, you know. So let's see how this game goes. It's still early. You see another back. They just lose with the ball, you know. Bad passes, not protecting the ball. That's dangerous, especially in the EPL, you know. Wolves trying to play from behind. Man, Tchachua, he's spending a lot of energy. I understand, you know, he's a fast player, but if you run like that, I'm gonna see how long he's gonna last because he's just on his bike running. Ooh, the pace. Yeah, good throwing, quick throwing. Pass the ball, pass the ball. Oh, decision making is poor, man. I mean, some of these players, their decision making is just poor. You have a player, you know, right in the middle, he's free by himself, and you want to dribble pass, and of course, the ball is taken away from you. You know, missed opportunities. You know, you have to be alert. You have to pass the ball. You have to release the ball. The more time you waste on the ball, you know, the opportunities, you know, the windows actually shut down. Good ball over the top. Let's see what Chan's gonna do. I think that's a good defending. Oh no, for me that wasn't a foul. But the ref, oh, another yellow card. Nah, that wasn't a foul. I think that's harsh. It's gonna be difficult for Wolves. I mean, for Brighton, they're getting all these yellow card. That was shoulder to shoulder. Nah, for me that's not a yellow card. The ref actually messed up on this one. Okay, Chan goes. Nah, that's shoulder to shoulder. He just put a body on him. Well, the ref will say he was not looking at the ball. Then maybe a little bit elbow raised. I mean, that's what the ref is actually blowing against because there was a little slight touch maybe on the winger's face, and that's what the ref is blowing against. Wolves has been good on set pieces so far. Yet another set piece. Let's see what they can do with this. So as I was saying, if you like us to switch, definitely might want to switch to the Barcelona game. I think Barcelona against Sevilla might be a good game. Other games going out. Newcastle United, Nottingham 0-0. You know, and she's already on. The pressure is on him. He's been poor. He's yet to win a game ever since he became the coach of Nottingham Forest. Crystal Palace leading everything. Crystal Palace has been huge. I bet you who scores. No, that's not Mateta. It's Munoz who scored on the 37th minute. Aston Villa. Oh wow, they scored their first goal. They scored yet again, not their first goal. Last week they actually won 3-1. So Aston Villa is looking maybe to have back to back. They're playing Burnley, so let's see how that goes. Also, I think Wolves, after their coach got sent off, they have been playing better. Maybe that's a motivation to them. He Chang on the wings has been live, like a live wire, running up and down. I told you about Tchachua defensively. And on another note, I remembered last game that we played, World Cup qualifiers, where we were beaten by Cape Verde. Baleba lost the ball in the middle. Wu and Boyomo, they have not been called this time around, but they didn't have pace, to run down the striker. So why don't you have Tchachua, especially if Cameroon is having a corner kick on the outside and all that? You don't need Tchachua all the time, but you need him because of his pace. He can be the one actually, safeguarding that defense because he can actually run. He has the speed. I bet you if it was Chechua going against the Cape Virgin, that day, he could have. Nah, I don't think that Cape Virgin would have outrun Chechua because Chechua, his pace is amazing. According to stats, he was the fastest player in Serie A last season. You know, so that means dude has some space, man. I mean, he has some speed. He can run. So those are things that, the Cameroonian coach, yet another yellow card, for Brighton. So that's four altogether, and it's just the first half. The ref will, I mean, the coach will need to do something at a certain point, and that's Chi-Chan again, giving another player, He-Chan, I'm sorry. I said Chi-Chan, He-Chan, giving another Brighton player within matter of minutes another yellow card with his speed. He's elusive, fine player. So I think Brighton will need to straighten out things, especially in the second half. They're getting these cheap yellow cards. Something needs to be done. So it's halftime. And Wolves deservedly leading by a score of 1-0. As I said, that game was yet another defensive error by Brighton. They need to be stringent at the back. You can't be giving away cheap goals, easy goals in this league. You get punished. You get punished. That's for real. So let's talk about some of the games that took place yesterday. I was intrigued by that Chelsea game. Chelsea versus Liverpool. That was a good one. Coming into that game, Chelsea was trying to stop a 3-game losing streak to Liverpool. The past 2 games, Liverpool had won. So Chelsea was trying to stop 3-game losing streak to Liverpool. Liverpool, on the other hand, was trying to stop a 3-game losing streak in all competitions. Remember, they lost their first one. Liverpool won their first 5 games. Everybody was talking about how Liverpool was going to run away with this. But when they lost their first game, they lost against Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace has been doing very good. Then they lost again in Champions League against Galatasaray, and they were trying to stop a 3-game losing streak. However, yesterday they lost against Chelsea. Coming into that game, Liverpool was 9 games ahead of Chelsea. So what Chelsea was trying to do is stop that bleed, because if you want to compete for the EPL this year, you cannot have the distance between you first and second, or you and the first to be 12 points. I mean, this early, it was going to be 7 after 7 games. So Chelsea needed to do something. They knew that at home they had to win. And both teams head ahead in all their home games. Everybody in the past, let's say 4 games, everybody has protected home field advantage. So that's why I was convinced that Chelsea was going to do something. However, when you look at the central defense of Chelsea, I'm talking about Acheampong, the 19-year-old. Altogether this season, he had a combined minutes of 127. He had not started any game. So this was his first start. Same for Baleba. We know he's a good player. He's strong, physical, tall. But this was his first start. Yesterday was also his first start. Both players got injured and replaced in that game yesterday. Well, now, when you look at the firepower that Liverpool has, you're talking about Mo Salah. How many times has he been top scorer, golden boot in the EPL? Is it 3 or 4 times? So he can score. Isaac bought for 130 million. We know what he can do. He can score. Ekitike, the first 3 games he scored 3 goals. So we know that that's talent right there. Gakpo, last season, he had 18 goals in all competition. This season, I think in the EPL, he has scored 2 goals. So look at the firepower. Szoboszlai, the goal he scored against Arsenal, and he was playing just behind Isaac. Liverpool, just like Chelsea, were playing in a 4-2-3-1. So they had five players in the midfield. Look at that firepower. Look at the central defense of Chelsea. There's no way you could have said that, before the match, that Chelsea was going to win this game. When Acheampong and Baleba got injured, James, who has a smaller frame, he's 5'11", was sent to defend in the central, was sent to the central defense. Hato came in. He has not started any game. So now you look at how Chelsea actually ended that game in defense. Apart from Cucurella, Gusto, who are all like good, good player. I know James has played at the central defense, but when you look at the equalizer of Liverpool, the 5'11" frame, James against Isaac, 6'4". Isaac is 6'4". Isaac tried to control that ball or to bring the ball under control. However, the ball ran away from him. But that was a perfect situation because it fell perfectly from Gakpo, who had read the situation and was now playing narrow. Again, Gusto, no match in that situation. 1-1. So that was a brilliant equalizer. And now momentum was now on Liverpool. Looking at that game, I was like, oh man, how's Chelsea going to do this? 10 minutes to the end of the game, Liverpool pressure. If you look at the high line, you look at where Van Dijk was, it said it all. They were like putting pressure on Chelsea. And if you see the way Liverpool has been playing, in 4 games this season so far, they have had late goals. Again, Bournemouth, they did that. Against Atletico in Champions League, they did that. So the narrative was always going to be like a one-way traffic. We knew who was going to score. According to data. However, we have seen Maresca and this Chelsea team before. What they do against Paris Saint-Germain. Okay? The fluidity, the dynamism of teams, players able to play 1 or 2 positions. Sobersley for Liverpool, he started as a playmaker just behind Isaac. Bradley had a yellow card. Bradley was pulled out in the second half. Sobersley went to play right back. Vales was also bought for, I think, 110 million. A lot of people criticizing him because he's not yet settled down in Liverpool. He actually came in, and I think he did great. There was a smooth pass in the second half to Salah. Salah should have scored. However, that did not happen. So changes were made. Both teams adjusted. For Chelsea's first goal, if you see the way Caicedo eliminated McAllister, I think in this game McAllister was replaced because he was not good enough. He eliminated McAllister and scored a brilliant goal. Now, some of my friends I'm talking football with, they were trying to critique Van Dijk, that Van Dijk could have done better on this goal. But when you go watch that goal, you see the distance when Caicedo eliminated McAllister. If any defender needed to close up to Caicedo, it was Konate. But even when you look at the distance between Konate and Caicedo, it was at least 10 yards. And from the time McAllister was eliminated, was dribbled past, Caicedo used 5 seconds. From that moment, 5 seconds. So can Konate use 5 seconds? Is he fast enough to use 5 seconds to close the gap between him and Caicedo? No, I don't think so. So if anyone has to be blamed, for me, it was the midfield of Liverpool. Where was Gravenberch? Where were all these players in order to help McAllister? They were nowhere to be found. The winner of Chelsea, it was just brilliant. Because in order, to suck in the pressure of Liverpool, that Liverpool was now asserting on Chelsea, you had to show Liverpool, or to make Liverpool respect your transition defense into offense. And that's what Chelsea did. And that's what Maresca was able to do with the replacements that he actually made. Estavo came in for Garnacho. I think Garnacho had an okay game. He was good, but I think he could have done better. Gittins came in for Neto. Gui came in for Pedro. Pedro is another player, another day. I think his older play was not good enough. Okay. Hato, as I said, came in for Achiempong. And Lavia was another player who came in and did very, very well in the midfield. So we see these changes made, and how Willian and Gittins, to be more specific, because they were the wing players. And also look at the role Cucurella played, because in this game, that winning goal, he was acting as a 9 shirt. Gravenberch, who has been good for Liverpool this season, kept him on side. It was difficult to track the run of Cucurella. Little pass onto Cucurella. Estavo was there to make it 2-1. That was just brilliant, right? And that's why so many Chelsea fans have been saying that Chelsea is going to challenge for the EPL. Although I don't believe, because in my opinion, I think they are too young a squad. They don't have that experience. But when you look at their injury list, my goodness, 9 players actually injured for Chelsea. And I'm not talking about just any type of players. I'm talking about starters. I'm talking about Cole Palmer. I'm talking about Tosin. I'm talking about Delap. I'm talking about Santos. I'm talking about Usugo. I'm talking about Levi Colwell, one of their best defenders, So these are the type of players I'm talking about. Fofana, Chabola, of course, he was a Chaloba, of course, suspended because of that red card he had. and Liverpool has only 3 injuries: Alisson, Giovanni, and Stefan. Liverpool's problem this season is that, in my opinion, this is what I'm gonna say. They have brought in Wills, they have brought in Ekitike, they have brought in Isaac, and they have brought in Kerkets at left back and Frimpong at right back. Remember last season or all these past years, Trent Alexander-Arnold and Robertson were the one playing in that position. And they understand the Liverpool culture very well. They understand how Liverpool plays ball. Okay. So, in my opinion, these players have not settled in as maybe Anslot could have liked. This is now his team, because the previous team he won the EPL with, credits to him, that was Klopp's team. So this is now his team. And I think the pressure is on. So psychologically, it's just a different ball game. So let's see how this will go, because it's just 7 games. Nothing is won yet. You don't win the EPL, at this point. But that was a great game. Arsenal actually played West Ham. I think West Ham has been poor. So in the second half, West Ham has 0 shot on target. So I cannot rate Arsenal based on that. But I've seen games where Arsenal has actually done well, especially that Newcastle game that they needed to win psychologically. When you win such games, it actually motivates you moving forward. So I think that was an easy win for Arsenal. Manchester United, clean sheet, great win. They beat, let me make sure who Manchester United actually played. Was at Sunderland. They beat Sunderland 2-0 at home. So that was a good win for them. And they had the new goalkeeper starting, Le Mans, who actually Lamens, is that Lamens or Le Mans? Lamens, who had a great game. And let me see, Mount and Sesko. Sesko actually scored the second goal. Cunha did not start this game. Cunha was actually dropped on the bench. Mount came in, and did it, scored. So, I mean, that was a good game from Mbeumo actually had an assist in that game. So that was a good win for Manchester United. And Tottenham won away at least. That was a good win also for them. So today we are watching the Brighton game, which is about to start. Watch along. Just a watch along. So 2 Cameroonians playing in this game, Baleba and Tchachua. So let me see the changes that have been made, because Brighton had a total of 4 yellow cards. So I know this is an away game. The coach doesn't want to, get anyone sent off and put under pressure. Now, coming into this game, you see the way, Wolves had been playing. They were bottom. They actually bottom. Oh yeah, Baleba has been removed, as I expected. Baleba has been removed. So I mean, Baleba, there goes again. There it goes again. He's been playing actually, regulated minutes. And today I do understand they down. He has a yellow card. So he has to manage his games really well. He has to psychologically, I think Baleba needs to refocus. His coach has spoken about it. I think he needs to refocus, because some of those yellow cards is just a lack of focus. And that's not only him, right? Because as I can tell you, Brighton, they have been very poor defensively. And for me, that's a due indiscipline. And that has resulted to them not having a clean sheet so far this season. I know the season is still young, but games like this, you should understand that they should understand that Wolves has been playing poorly. And although they are playing at home, although they had some new players that came towards the end of the transfer window, I'm talking guys like Tchachua, it will only take them a little bit of time in order to, adapt into what the squad or what the coach how the coach actually wants them to play. So you have to jump on such opportunities and put pressure on these teams. But that's not what Brighton is doing today. The Seagulls, they're actually losing. And that goal they considered was their fault. Poor defensive clearance by Welbeck, and that led to a goal by Wolves. What games are you guys watching? Because there are so many games going on today. Everton, Crystal Palace, Aston Villa, Burnley, Newcastle, Forest. I guess most people watching that Newcastle Forest game. That looks like a good game, although Forest has been having some difficulties, Although Forest has been having some difficulties with their new coach and their new situation. Yeah. Oh, this is my boy, man. D, man, I would like to have you here. I mean, if you're just let me know if you're free. I'd like to have you because we can go back and forth. And I'd like to pick up your mind on maybe the Cameroonian team. You know, this is our show, so we can talk about whatever we want to talk. We can put our own, touch into it and talk about how the Cameroonian team, how you look at the Cameroonian team, and if they have any chances of qualifying for the World Cup. It's gonna be a stressful 1 week because I know fans gonna bring out their calculators and all type of calculations will be going on if this team loses and all that, because if we don't qualify as a top team, we have an opportunity to be the best four teams and qualify. Right now, we are number 5, and Cameroon just has to fight hard in order to get, and not only fight hard, but we need others to lose some games so that we can actually sneak in. Yep. So Baleba is out. Let me see what Wolves is trying to do. Oh yeah, they're running into each other. Hichan has been actually good. No, that pass won't go through. That's a little bit too much. The defense. So I have an opportunity because man, I have so many games. I have an opportunity to watch that Barcelona Sevilla game. Let me see who starts for Barcelona. Lewandowski starts today. Torres, Ferran Torres. Oh wow. Rashford, Daniel Olmo, De Jong, Pedri, Gerard Martin, Kubasi, Arroyo, Kunde. Balde not back. It's not 100% yet. Christensen, Casedo, Bernal, Eric Garcia, Ro Fernandez, Antonio Fernandez, Diego Colchen, all that, those are those on the Barcelona bench. Sevilla has changed a lot. Sevilla has changed a lot. Aspilicueta, now playing for Sevilla. Yeah, Sevilla is a team that has changed a lot. So let me look at Barcelona's injuries list. Of course, we know Fermin Lopez, Lamine Yamal groin, Juan Garcia, goalkeeper, Gavi knee injury. Sad. I wish him the best. Ter Stegen back injury, Rafinha, muscle injury. You know, just too many injuries. Okay, now that Baleba, I think Baleba has actually is out. I wanted to watch Baleba. Tchachua is playing at right back, the leading now. So let me see. Maybe let's catch that Newcastle game. A Newcastle game. Let me switch on to the Newcastle game. That's either Newcastle or the Crystal Palace game. Aston Villa, Palace, Everton. Yeah, I think Crystal Palace, Everton is a good one. Let's switch on to the Crystal Palace, Everton, where Crystal Palace is leading 1-0. Let me see what Jack Grealish can do. And they're playing at Everton. This Crystal Palace is a team that's for real, They're tough. After having sold guys like Eze, you know, then Olise was also sold like last season, you know. They're still doing some good stuff. Foul there by Jack Grealish. He's tackling hard. We see that he's back to enjoying his football. Too much pressure at Manchester City. Injured player. Here's my phone right here. So, what do you guys actually think of the list of players called up for Cameroon national team? Let me see. Yeah, some new names actually there, and Bayamo and Wu have not been called. I think they did very poor in the last game. And the kid, Carly Tai Young, keeps scoring, man. I know over the news in Cameroon, Kofane was called up and he refused. I've spoken about recruitment, man. Our recruitment is actually poor. You know, Cameroon needs to do better. But hey, we all know they won't do better. We all know they're always fighting. And if we don't go to the African Cup of Nations, it's because we keep fighting. We keep fighting. All those who say maybe the coach is not good enough. Of course, yeah, you can have. But what was the reason? What was the reason behind us going into competitions and 2 days or 24 hours before games? I mean, what's the reason for that? Do you think a team can travel and get to location 24 hours before and perform at a very high level? No, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't, football actually doesn't work that way. So if you're not organized, I'm talking from back office right up to players on the field, it's going to affect the performances of the players on the pitch, going to be affected, and they won't be able to give their best. That's just logical because the body is tired, not good enough time for recuperation, and we are always doing that. This is not the first time, so it's not as if I'm blaming the current Feka Food or Samuel Eto'o. It's something that we have failed, to put the processes together. Everyone has to know their role. Everyone has to be responsible or held accountable for what they actually do. But that's not the case. Crystal Palace, oh my goodness, draw the ball back. That's a bad decision by Sarr. You have to pull the ball back. And, there was an opportunity for them to go 2 up. Gehi for Crystal Palace is amazing, Liverpool, I see why Liverpool wanted to sign him, but that deal break down at the last minute of transfer, and that's the problem, the fault of Liverpool, because they put all your resources and they were focused on getting Isaac. You know, did Liverpool actually really need Isaac? I want to know that, guys. Let's have this conversation. Do you guys think Liverpool actually really needed Isaac? I do understand one of the arguments is that Mo Salah. We know Mo Salah has maybe just a year or two. That's Crystal Palace going again. You have to strike. Oh, has maybe a year or two. They're looking for players that will take over and replace Mo Salah. But the immediate was that Liverpool needed maybe more men in the defense to help Konate, to help Van Dijk, maybe another uh, uh, defensive midfielder. We know they tried to replace Trent Alexander-Arnold with Frimpong, and Kevets was also brought in. But these are players that will actually need time, to adapt to the Liverpool style of play, especially Frimpong. You're coming against a guy, you're coming to fill in the spot of a guy that was at Liverpool. Although Trent Alexander-Arnold was not the best of defenders, but he brought a lot into the offensive style of Liverpool, and that's what made Liverpool win so many. So many trophies during his time with Liverpool. So replacing those guys, would not be easy. It's not. How can I say? It's not a quick fix. It's never a quick fix, especially when you see the success slot, the immediate success he had. That was a team actually built by Klopp. So now this is his team. He spent a lot of money. The type of players he wanted to bring in. We see Verts, although many people are criticizing him. I think that's just football nowadays. There's no time for players to adjust. We want players who just come in and start producing, especially like the strikers. It doesn't work that way. Even Isaac is not at 100%. His whole transfer was, his whole summer was disrupted because he wanted to move, and hey, that's something he has to deal with. The pressure is on. But if we are being realistic, he's a fine player. Does he cost 130? I'm not sure about that. He's moving from Newcastle, where the expectation is not as that of maybe a Liverpool. So, hey, the pressure is going to be there. But I wouldn't just use maybe a couple of games or this season to say, Isaac is a bad player or whatever. But I think, in my opinion, I don't think Liverpool needed Isaac. They should have focused. Had they focused on maybe getting a guy like Gay early on, and with the funds that they did have, they would have gotten Gay. Crystal Palace. Oh, Mateta, you got to score. No, 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 no. Man, Crystal Palace is missing all these, opportunities. Well, they're fortunate they're playing Everton. I don't think Everton is that little, of a team, you know. But if they were playing another team, believe me, this can come and bite them, They having these opportunities missing, you know. Mateta had one, and that decision was not good enough. Trying to chip. Look at how many players were back defending. You needed something stronger than just a chip, You know. Well, but they like dominating everything, man. They're dominating everything, and you can see why Crystal Palace was the first team that actually beat Liverpool, because they are aggressive, they are assertive, they know what they want to do, and they're doing it, together, as a team. It's not just one player that you look over Crystal Palace and say, okay, this is the one. And the evidence is there. Eze just left. This is a team that just sold Eze. So whoever comes in fits directly into the plan. So that's how you can tell that the team is well coached. It's not just a matter of the players. That's the opportunity I was talking about. Mateta, come on now. You should have even passed that ball. He tried to chip. Look at the number of players. As soon as he tried to chip that, there was already a defender, you know, at Everton doing a good clearance. That's an opportunity. He should be doing better. And maybe that's why, I've not really bought into the idea that Mateta was a good center forward. However, he gets his first call up for Franks. So that right there speaks volumes in itself that he's been doing good. Possession 52 for Crystal Palace against 48 for Everton. 2 attempts on goal in the second half. So this is a competitive game. It can go anywhere. 50-50. But Everton needs to do more like in the final third. Let me see. Grealish on the ball. Okay. Ooh, that was a good block. That was a good block. As soon as I said that Everton needed to do more, they had some good opportunities. Let me see. Barcelona game. Let me see. Sweden. Okay. This is what Henrik Larsson said something on Isaac. It's not for me to give him advice. We played against AIK when I was a coach, when he was only 16, 17. So Larsson actually coached Isaac. Okay, there goes Crystal Palace again. What a pass. Let me see what happens. Come on. Come on. Mateta, what a miss. What a miss. Man, look at all the opportunities Crystal Palace is having. Open goal, Mateta. You should pass that ball. Sir, also, how many opportunities can you guys have in order to try to, put the game to bed? Okay, you go around the goalkeeper, understand the angle is tight. Why don't you pass? You try to, score by yourself. And oh, come on now. These guys are missing so many opportunities. This might just come to hurt them. It might just come back to hurt them. So let me read what Larsen. You guys remember Larsen, right? Henrik Larsen of Sweden. So I think he coached Isaac when Isaac was 16, 17. And he's saying that it's not for me to advise him. We played against AIK when I was coach, when he was only 16, 17. You could see already that he had the talent, the speed, he could dribble, and he could finish. Playing at Newcastle is not easy. He's done it. It was fantastic. Well, now he's gone to Liverpool, a step to the next level. I'm sure he's going to handle that in his own way. I told Barcelona about him, and when I was there as coach, they asked me for a list of strikers. I said Alexander Isak. He was one of them, and I actually also had Lewandowski on it. Okay. Speaking to the talent of Isaac, no, of course, we all know, as I was saying earlier, we all know Isaac is very, very talented, you know. However, the circumstances surrounding his transfer, because this is now, it's going to be like a psychological issue, right? The difference between good strikers or good players and the best is that consistency, and it's how they handle pressure. It's not about their talent, it's how they handle pressure. Because if it's about the talent, we know that Isaac has it. The consistency, we know that he has it. But as Larson just said, going to the next level, Liverpool is the next level. So let's see how you handle that pressure, especially when, okay, Everton. Let me see. Ooh, what a save. What a save. I was talking about this. What a save. That was a great save, though. That was a great save from the goalkeeper. And Everton is having its own opportunities now. Yep. But Crystal Palace is a good defensive team. and that's why they are doing great so far this season. They've conceded only 3 goals, same amount of goals with Arsenal. 3 goals. And Arsenal, you guys know how Arsenal can defend, but that shot stop there by the goalkeeper, Alcaraz, he did it great. I mean, yep, Henderson. Alcaraz actually smashed that one, but Henderson was there, to stop it. That was the great save. Man, this guy, when will he get old? I'm talking about Idris Gay. He reminds me of Kante, man. I mean, his body frame, small, running all over the place. When you think he's done, you know, you still see him running. He had that move to Paris Saint-Germain that did not work out. However, coming back, EPL at Everton, where you can play week in, week out. And that's one of the things, right? Some players actually need to play week in, week out. You know, when you go to a team like Paris Saint Germain, where you don't play week in, week out, it becomes tough. Yeah, yeah. I mean, you shouldn't be pushing players like that. I mean, Everton player and Crystal Palace just received a yellow card. You cannot just be shoving players, even if they are trying to prevent you from, even they are trying to prevent you from kicking, a free kick. The coach also gets a yellow card. There's no tolerance. There's zero tolerance when it comes to behaviors like that. And players should actually know better. Your team is leading. You're out there trying to prevent a free kick from being taken, and he's still standing there. He's still like, he's still trying to taunt, the player. For me, that's just unwanted behavior, some stupid behavior. If I'm the coach, I'll take out Pino, because he might just go out there and do something stupid and get his team, playing 10 out of 11. So, what games are you guys watching? Let me ask that question. What games are you guys watching? Let me check. Let me check on the scores on the other game. Oh, the Barcelona Sevilla game just started. I might switch over to that game, but let me see. Oh, Aston Villa scored the second one. Newcastle now leading 1-0. Brighton still being led by Wolves. Mateta has been taken off. Yes, about time you give. He's missed so many opportunities. You give Ketia an opportunity to play. Mateta has been a mess. It's about time you give Ketia an opportunity to play. So, do you guys want us to go check Pedri? Because I think Pedri has been good, man. Pedri has really been excellent. Let's go check Pedri, man. Let me switch. Yeah, man. There's no soccer game I don't have. Believe me, guys. There's no soccer game I don't have. I have everything. I have everything. All games playing. Name it. I don't care what league. I got it. So I got information for you guys. If you guys have some recommendations, what games you want to watch, what player you want to watch, just comment. We can actually make that happen. Or let me put it this way: what game you want me to comment on, we can make that happen. Because I'm watching in the comfort of my home. If you have that game, we can actually watch that game together and have some conversations. And I've said this, right. Pretty soon, I already have everything together where you can call and give your own opinion, you know, or if you want to be, you know, on screen with me, we can also make that happen. So we're gonna watch Sevilla versus Barcelona. Yeah, the game already started like 12 minutes ago. Oh man, look at what? Did Sevilla just get a penalty? Yeah, Sevilla just got a penalty. Man, oh, Sevilla just got a penalty. Oh, Chelsea is the one in goal today. So Sevilla just scored. Alexis Sanchez. Man, that dude is still playing and scoring goals. So Barcelona is down. Araujo, always a culprit. Always the culprit. Yeah. Sevilla just scored. Sevilla just scored. They just got a penalty. Alexis Sanchez. How old is that dude? Maybe 40? Yes, Araujo. But where's the penalty, man? Yeah, man. I think that was I can't blame the defender, man. That was a soft penalty. Man, I mean, when you have got your hands on a player like that and you guys are defending and he falls, then I mean it's a tussle. It's a tussle. Defender and striker. So, but hey, that's football, man. That's the football of today. You know, that's football of today. Yep. So that's how the game. So let's watch this game. Pedri on the ball. There are always a lot of goals because the way these two teams play. Gerard Martin just received a yellow card for Barca. I mean, that's one thing for me. The how you call it, La Liga. I mean, how is that a yellow card? You know, La Liga is they too quick to give yellow cards. That changes, in my opinion, that changes actually. The way the game is being played. Some yellow cards that I don't. I mean, how is that a yellow card? Is beyond my understanding. But hey, refs actually influence the games, right? That's an offside. That's football. So refs actually do influence the games. Be a part of the game. We can't take them out. There's no football game that is being played without a ref. Although some of us want to believe that the refs should not have much of a say, but hey, there's never a football game without the refs. Yep. Barcelona, they take so much risk playing from behind. They're not the only one, but when they do it, yep, they're not the only one who do it though. Okay, so Everton, as I said, Everton equalized. Ndiaye scored a penalty, 1-1. Yeah, I was just sure that's gonna happen. Crystal Palace missed so many opportunities. You cannot be missing that many opportunities. You know, it's gonna bite you. It's gonna bite you. So Everton are playing at home right now. The momentum is gonna be on them. Momentum swing. How is that a penalty? Burnley pulled one back on Aston Villa. Yeah, this Barcelona game, and the game is rough. Barcelona also, it's just as if I just I'm still watching Crystal Palace. No, not the Crystal Palace. Wolves versus the Wolves game where there were a lot of yellow cards being given, because that's what Barcelona is also like facing, lots of yellow cards. Sevilla is actually just outplaying them. Goal. Ooh, how did he miss that? You know, Sevilla started really good. I mean, Barcelona is like, those changes, the changes made by Barcelona, the players, the dynamic. I mean, Camona came close. He came close. Rashford not settled in the game. No one is settled in the game yet. It's not only Rashford. well, so we got, let me see how many minutes remaining for that game. 10 more minutes. Yeah, about 9 more minutes. So there's 9 more minutes remaining. Let's finish that 9 minutes and then we shall call it a day. Yeah, so we'll finish the EPL. We'll finish this watch along with Newcastle, the Newcastle Nottingham Forest game. Nottingham Forest, they yet to get a point after they let their manager go. I mean, their manager go. I mean, it's terrible. What? Newcastle, do they have a penalty? So things are going from bad to worse for Nottingham Forest. Newcastle has a penalty. Yep. Newcastle has a penalty. Things are going from bad to worse from Nottingham Forest. So, some owners are just terrible, man. He lets Nuno go because of his big ego, whatever. And now his team is 2-0 down against Newcastle. Of course, Newcastle is a good team. I mean, is Isaac being missed? The German coming all the way from Stuttgart just scored that penalty. That was a good penalty, though. Yep. And comes in, hey, and she's yet to win a point, you know. Volt Malde just scored to make it 2-0. So let's see what Nottingham Forest, the whole story, especially when they won, they lost over in Europe. That loss in Europe had everybody talking about them. What about the loss today? Nottingham Forest doesn't look like the same team, the team that impressed everyone. And this trouble started, when they failed to make it to Champions League, when they failed to make Champions League football. Now tell me, with this type of ownership, had they gone to Champions League football, do you think this team could have survived? They cannot even survive Europa, then talk about Champions League. So the egos of some of these owners are just, messing up with their teams. Just terrible messing up with their teams. So let's see how this game. I mean, that game is already over. Let me see if Brighton will be able to come back. Because that game, at least the Brighton game. Let me go home. The Brighton game is a game at least just a goal difference. Let's see what that Everton game has. Let's watch the Everton game. I think there'll be a team that wins this game, man. Everton can just knock one in and just finish. It was Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace had lots of opportunities. They could not make it two and stretch the game. And now they're fighting for their lives. momentum is weak. Fire the coach, Nottingham Forest. Yeah. Uh, Fans are singing fire the coach, Nottingham Forest. Of course. Singing fire the coach, fire the coach. That's Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest We said it. We said it. We said it. We said it. Yep. Look at Everton just scored. Didn't we say that? Didn't we say that? Look at all the work by DI. Yep. Look at all the work done by DI. Yep. I mean, that's the name of the game. You don't take your opportunities, and then you get burnt at the end. Crystal Palace has only themselves to lose. As good as they have been, you know, today they were very, very wasteful. And I think Di is the man of the match. He actually created that opportunity, that cross, and then the goal by Grealish. You know, you have to put yourself in that situation. You have to put yourself, in an opportunity to win those balls, and then the results actually fall for you. That's football. You get rewarded, for being there. Checking for possible red card, violent conduct against who? Oh yeah, oh yeah. Why are you gonna do that? Why are you gonna do that? He's lucky, man. He's lucky. You punch someone in the stomach. Oh my goodness. Some of these players with all the cameras, you think, okay, in the spur of the moment, you're gonna do something foolish like that. He's lucky. He's lucky he's still on the feet on the pitch playing. I understand the spur of the moment. In the spur of the moment, you want to do things. Oh, Brighton finally got a point. Man, Wolves. And that was an own goal. Didn't I say, okay, Wolves. Wolves is gonna be a tough year for them, man. When everything looks like, going your way. Same against Tottenham. Oh yeah, Sevilla. I know Sevilla scored number two. Sevilla is leading Barcelona by 2 goals to 0. Barcelona, man. Barcelona. This game is gonna be tough. This game is gonna be tough for them. It's gonna be tough for them. I don't think. Yeah, I don't think. Except the coach looks for a way. I don't think they have the players. You know, for this one. I don't think they have the players for this one. Yeah, so Crystal Palace, they will rule their missed chances. You know, they had an opportunity to win this one. So it's on them. They're gonna rule their missed chances. Gonna rule their missed chances. Just count the number of opportunities Crystal Palace had in this game. Five, about five at one point. Bad decisions. So Crystal Palace is coming from behind to win this one. Yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and end this. Games over. Hope you guys are enjoying your Sunday. Tomorrow is Monday. Don't forget. Stay blessed.